The views expressed in this podcast are the personal opinions and stories based on experiences of the presenters and not those of Linden Labs, the owners of Second Life. The language and topics used in this recording may not be suitable for all listeners. Listener discretion is advised.
Virtual Pixels Podcast. Don't forget to hit our Facebook page and our YouTube channel is where you can catch all the up-to-date stuff that's going on with us. We're going to be chitting and chatting about Second Life and also anything else that comes to mind. So stick around and see what today's topic is with Diveka and Brandy on Virtual Pixel Podcast.
Welcome back to Virtual Pixels Podcast. This is episode 1, where we're going to talk about what is Second Life. I am one of your co-hosts. My name is Diveka.
I'm Brandy. I'm your other co-host.
And we're going to talk about Second Life today. And what is it? So, Brandy, what is it?
It's a pain in my ass. No, I'm kidding. Second Life is an online multimedia platform that allows people to create avatars of themselves and a virtual world to live in, play in, join, experience. It's been around since 2003. So yeah, that's about 20 years for those who want to do the math. And the other boring fact I want to give you, it has its own economy, which actually can what's the word I'm thinking? It can relate into real life and not at the same time, but it has its own form of money in there called Lindens. Also, it's a virtual reality that's very complex environment filled with a lot of potentials, risk, and rewards. So that's the boring history of it.
That's the boring history part of it. But yeah, it's a multimedia platform, like she said. So everything in there is 100% user created. So somebody had to create part of my Fox avatars, bits and pieces. Like, for example, for my Fox, my tail was created by somebody. The body was created by somebody. The head was created by somebody, some talented artist that I paid lindens to for that object. But it was up to me to decide to choose that color, to choose that shape, to choose the different things to make it mine. So that's one of the, and you can do that too. I mean, if you want to be a fat slob, I know the place I go to all the time, there's one guy, he's like a fat troll is how he plays it. And that's up to you. Cause it's your Second Life. You can do whatever you want to do. I mean, we got people that play as vampires and werewolves, and I know
Transformers.
Yeah, there's some that transform. There's people that play in the Star Wars universe or play in Star Trek universe. I've done a role play with some friends of mine on the bridge of the USS Enterprise. So yeah,
I've been on the Titanic.
But
as it sunk too.
Yeah, well, and then that kind of goes into kind of the next point here that I've got here. It's where time and distance doesn't exist because you're dealing with. You can go back and look at the Titanic. One other thing, somebody had recreated the Haunted Mansion from Disneyland, and it was a spot-on duplicate. It was fantastic, absolutely amazing. But yeah, it's a place where everything's possible. I mean, you can be anything you want to do. You can go skydiving, you can go scuba diving. There's underwater worlds that are there. There's outer space worlds, space stations. A place I frequent.
Sorry, go ahead.
A place I frequent. A place I frequent is called the Ark, and the Ark is actually a spaceship flying around in space.
There's also many communities you can join.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Those like fantasy communities and actual ones that deal with real life issue stuff. And there's also many areas where you can explore yourself.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, so like for example, there are lots of communities. We were talking about the communities. Let's dive into that a little bit because I mean there is a community of people who plays they call it bloodlines is what they call it. Um, they do you can play as a vampire, you can play as a werewolf, you can play as a demon or an angel, and they have this it's kind of a game inside the game, if you want to call it that, because it's really truly not a game. um, but you have where you gain these points and you do these requests and you can gain points for your clan and do different things. You can rise up to being a king or a queen of your clan or something like that. But there's a huge community, but then there's also other communities that also affect in real life. For example, right now we're recording this in June and it happens to be Pride Month,
Mm-hmm.
and SL has a monster Pride event that happens every year. It takes up multiple sims. Um, just brief, a sim is a piece of land on a that you go to, and it's like 256 meters by 256. And that is virtual real estate that you can do whatever you want to do in that space. Well, they've got like 4 sims together, and these are based on servers that are at a data farm. And but these virtual sims, they've got four of these places tied up to this Pride event, and it's like a block community with a park in the middle. And I mean, it is a party and a half. That place is always packed with people. There's always events going on celebrating the LGBTQ community. There's churches in here. There's universities in here. Um, you name it. It's there's the furry community is well represented in here. Um,
Almost every
another.
realm there is in real life, there's
Mhm,
that and then some in Second Life.
mhm, mhm.
So you never know what you could come across. You
No,
have to
you
keep
never
an
know.
open mind. That's
Yeah,
one
you
thing I have
do.
to say about this game or
Yeah, you
social
do need to
media.
keep an open mind. Because with Second Life, there's a lot of things that go on with it. Um, you'll meet people from all over the world. For example, I mean, I constantly get, if I'm on during the day and I go certain places, there's people that are speaking in French or German or Swedish. We get
Asian.
Brazilians on a lot, Australians, New Zealanders. I've met somebody from Poland that was playing Second Life.
Yeah,
I
the
mean,
cool thing about Second Life is there's you can wear what's called a translator, and so you don't actually have to talk if they're typing out in the other language. You don't have to know how to read that language. It'll actually convert it and come up on your screen so you could read it in whatever language that you're comfortable
and it's very handy
in.
because again, you're dealing with international people. Um, yeah, that's the fun part because I know we've done that with people from Brazil before because they're speaking Portuguese,
Mhm.
and um, I've seen Russian, I've seen um, Japanese, I've seen Chinese, I've seen not too often do you see Japanese or Chinese, but you do see um, I've seen a lot of a
A
lot of
lot of different
Brazilians,
places.
a lot of Portuguese because the fact that they're kind of on the same time zone as us when we play. Um, but yeah, Second Life. I mean, what? So, what is Second Life to you, Brandy?
Um, a place to socialize and gather. I know it's like June of 2022. So we just came out of our pandemic of the COVID stuff. So it really helped when everybody got stuck at home. It was
Oh,
a great
absolutely,
platform to
absolutely.
socialize and to meet up with other people. It's also helped me with a lot of other issues. I'm quite member. I'm a member of quite a few groups that help with my real life issues. I deal with health issues and stuff, and there's a great support team because you're talking peer to peer. So other people that have the same thing that you do. So that's an awesome feature in there. I also like the fact that I could be creative, and I never knew how creative I could be until I learned how to do a lot of stuff in here.
Mhm.
How about you? What's
What is Second Life to me? It's a chance for me to meet friends like you. Okay, everybody. Aw.
oh,
Um,
let me get a
but
tissue,
that's
I'm gonna cry. Anyways, go ahead.
but I've met I mean, I've met a lot of people and I've met some people I care about. I got some really good friends that live in San Diego that I have to go meet. I've known them for a long, long, long time. They've been very, very supportive of me. For a while, I was involved with somebody who, again, I'm from Indiana. Somebody was in Chicago and they moved to their old hometown in Michigan. And I just happened to be a couple hours away. So I've actually went and met them in real life. And that was fun being able to meet. I've met probably a half dozen people in real life that I've met on Second Life. I mean, it's a lot of fun. You get some friendships that you make some really interesting friendships. There's some that just kind of disappear because, well, real life happens. And another thing is real life has to pay the bills too. So you can't enjoy Second Life unless you've got the unless you got the money to pay for some of the things.
Actually,
You got to have
we'll
it.
have an episode on how to survive in there cheaply. So
Yeah. Oh yes.
don't run away
Brandy
thinking it's going to
is
cost a lot. You actually
yeah
can survive in here and not have to pay a lot or
yeah.
anything
Brandy is
actually.
the queen of thrift.
I used to run a Facebook page of freebies, so
Mm.
I can give you the
So,
tricks and the trades of that.
but yeah, it's a chance to meet people, meet like-minded people. So, for example, I go to a play. I'm a furry, so I go to a place called the Ark, and at the Ark, I've it's taken a while, but I've met some new people who are really good friends. In fact, there's uh, one guy who he lives in New England, but him and I've gotten together and we've formed a really good friendship. And our avatars, which is our characters, or this, if
As
you're
we're
a
known as
WoW
residents, is what they usually
resident,
like to call it.
yeah, but if you're a World of Warcraft player, it is. I mean, they call them tunes, and this is kind of you can call it a tune, but we call them avatars, or we call them characters. Um, where you can have multiple characters if you want, just like you can on some of these other games. Um,
But unlike the other games, there is no actual end goal to this.
no,
Like if you're playing Diablo, which I'm a avid Diablo player too, you have an end goal to go through the whole story or level up your character to a certain level or accomplish certain stages. This one, there's no actual end to it. It's almost like an infinity. I don't know if I'm saying that right.
Infinity.
Correct. That's it. um, type world. So there's never actually an end to any of it.
No, it's because it's not a goal oriented game. It's more of it's a social platform. I would say on par with or better than say Facebook or Instagram or something like that because it's kind of on a different level, would you say?
Hmm.
Because you're not dealing with your real life, you're dealing with a second life. And again, you can be involved. I mean, I'm involved with a bunch of furries. I mean, I got a horse that I deal with. There's tigers, there's lions, um, and there's other things too. I mean, again, it's limited by your imagination.
I
Um,
like to say that Second Life is almost idealistic in a way where everybody with an open mind can get along with everybody else. I hang out with Di, who is a furry, and I am a human. And there's no qualms about that. It's just, okay, that's just the way it is.
yeah, we
And I love
don't.
that.
Yeah, and she's come over to the Ark many times, and I mean it's mostly furries, but everybody greets her, and everybody's just fine with her. Um,
I've actually gone over to many different sims and locations, clubs, whatever you want to call it. You've got everything in here from those who are love to just walk around naked to
oh
those that if
yes,
they could pile on all the clothes in the world, they could. They will.
fashion in Second Life is huge. Um, that is, I mean, my God, some of the dresses that are in here. Ooh, if I could be like that and or have that in second or in real life and look that good.
Oh yes, it's almost like your own personal cliche to say. It's almost like your own Barbie doll where you can dress and change yourself into any type of outfit, look,
Mhm,
or style you ever want. One
sure.
minute you could be walking around in like shorts and a tank top. 2 seconds later, you could be in a full 9 yards of elegant dress with like everything all done up to the nines,
Mhm.
and it's awesome. And it's the cool thing is if you're a male avatar or a resident in the game, and you feel like putting a dress on, go for it. I
Yeah,
mean,
because
it allows the freedom of expression in a safe area. Now, that
absolutely,
being said, I do have to put in the you will come across those who are not so open minded,
yes.
just like you do in any other aspect of your life.
Mhm.
But in this world, you can easily just block them, walk away, and you never have to
That
read.
or, you can absolutely teleport to a different sim in a heartbeat, and that's I mean, that's the beauty of it. If you're getting harassed or something like that, you can block the person so they don't talk to you. You can I mean, there's safeguards and stuff in here. It is a fairly safe place, and then there are certain things like, for example, I'm heavily involved with the transgender community because I am a trans female. In real life, I am. And so, Second Life for me was a way for me to experiment with myself. It was a way for me to test the waters and see if I could be a female. And I kind of used it as a way to kind of like give my feminine side a chance while I was doing male things in real life. Well, turned out Second Life became an incubator for me. So I ended up starting a transition in real life and yeah, and Second Life was a catalyst for it. So,
Well,
but
I'm sure Second Life also helped you gain the thicker skin that you will need when you run into
oh,
those who are not
oh
so.
yeah, oh yeah,
I'm trying
absolutely,
to be politically
absolutely.
correct. I want to tell them assholes, but
Well, we do put a disclaimer on here to watch that our language is not 100% accurate or not 100% safe. So,
if you have sensitive ears, you may not like what I say half the time, but that's okay. It's a free world.
but yeah, it is. And Second Life tends to be like that. I mean, but there are safeguards, there are things you can do if you feel threatened or if you need to have some assistance. There's people who got your back. Mostly the group that owns the Second Life is called Linden Labs. They have people that are in the game, and then they've got people that work for them that are in game as well. Plus, you got other people that are in the know, and they know
Mhm.
how to do certain things. So,
The other thing about Second Life is that it's a very creative platform for those who want to build,
Mhm.
and as in furniture, any artistic type thing, like if you want to do like sculptures or something like that. It's a great platform for that. I know a
Oh,
lot of
absolutely.
colleges, universities, and technical schools. They actually have their own little area where they have their students come in here and learn how to do 3D programming, 3D creations, and scripting, and all that fun stuff. So,
Yeah, the school I went to Purdue University, and I know they had a sim of their own at one time. It's gone away, but um, yeah, that's been kind of fun.
I also know.
Especially
Sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was going to say there's other platforms in here that businesses. I wanted to touch on that. There's a lot of businesses that have come and gone in here, but there's still some that used it quite a bit over the pandemic, where that's where they were having their virtual meetings. Because
Mhm,
this is a platform where you can either type or voice in. So it made it easier for a lot of people to communicate. Which is also the great part of this thing is if you don't want to voice, you don't have to. You can type. So if you're shy and you're like, not sure, you can type it out. And spelling doesn't always count. So that's, I
No,
mean, if you're not a
most
great
people
typist,
are
that's okay. But
most
spelling,
people are fluent in what we call typees.
yes,
Um,
you learn the gist of it quite well. Um,
mhm.
but other than that, Second Life is an awesome platform. I know that in the early stages of it, they used to use it as a platform for the army down in the States to help. It's kind of like, how the fly simulators. So if
Oh,
you
okay.
want to fly, they have the flight simulator games out there. Well, here you can actually like drive a tank, and so they had like a simulator for that. And they built
Oh, I
as
didn't know that.
actually took a separate copy of this and geared it more towards the more of a military use.
Mhm.
So this platform has actually been quite a bit used, and people have bought chunks of it and tried to spin it off onto other games. But this platform has always stayed strong, as you can tell. It's been around for almost 20 years. So
Mhm. Mhm. It's been around for almost 20 years,
I'll get off my
and
soapbox now.
no, you're fine. You're fine. You're fine. Well, this whole podcast is a soapbox. But
That's very true.
no, the one thing I'll say, I know there's some new competitors against Second Life and the VR, like with the VR headsets, for example. Meta created their own thing, and Microsoft has their own thing, and um so I mean these are platforms that have come out recently to use the VR headsets thing. This is Second Life was doing VR 10
Long
years
time ago,
ago,
which is a whole
5, 10
different
years ago. Yeah,
episode.
yeah. But it is something about Second Life that it was a precursor to all this,
We would
and
definitely have to touch more on that one.
we will definitely touch more on that. But yeah, I mean, kind of what is Second Life? I think we kind of answered that really well here.
Um,
Biggest takeaways from this: number one, it's 100% user created, been around for 20 years, and it's more of a social platform that you can create and build. And like I do, I take a lot of photography in here. The camera in here is really good to work with too. So, but
I know a lot of people have actually made movies in here too, but I digress on that.
yes, again, something else we can go into. But
Yes,
just kind of an overview, though. I mean, if you can tell, we both are very excited about Second Life. We both played it quite a bit. Um, so I mean, we'll wrap this up by, if you haven't played Second Life, we invite you to join us. There are people around that are going to help, and It's easy to get started because it doesn't cost you anything.
And then to also put another thing is, it's kind of like Facebook, but in a virtual setting.
Yep,
The
absolutely.
basic platform is created. You got the land, the sky, and the ocean, and the rest is all user-based, made. So, I guess on that note, we should say, see you next time.
Yep. Thank you very much for listening to episode 1, What is Second Life? Episode of the Virtual Pixels podcast. I've been your host, Di.
And I'm Brandy.
And we thank you very much for listening.
Wow, what a show that was, huh? Hey, thanks for listening to Virtual Pixel Podcast. Don't forget to follow us over on Facebook and subscribe to us on YouTube. We'll see you again around. Have fun, and thanks again for listening to Virtual Pixel Podcast.